I'm Andre Huey, and the WINN Weekender this week comes to you from Old Road. Behind me you're seeing a very historic structure, a stone bridge built by slaves during colonial times. It's painted red. It is painted red in the last few days, and some residents of the community are upset about it. We'll speak to one man, one resident from the area, Mr. Austin Coker, who will tell us why he's upset this bridge is painted red. All this in this week's edition of the WINN Weekender. I'm in Old Road. We've been getting several calls this week of a bridge, a historic bridge in the area, a stone bridge that was actually built by slaves in the historic times, the colonial times, that has been painted red. I'm here with Mr. Austin Coker, a resident of Old Road, who is very upset about what has happened with the bridge being painted. He has a sign which he has been wearing and had it hung up in the area earlier today. It says, "It is a shame our history has gone to the drain." Mr. Coker, what is your grouse?
My grouse is simple, Andre. The bridge should not be painted by no political colors or painted by no colors at all. It is a part of our history, and it should remain the origin that it was built by the slaves.
Do you know who painted it?
From my information, I learned that it's a taxi driver who painted it.
And how long has it been there?
It's been painted about maybe 6 days now.
Is this something new to Old Road? Has this happened before? Has any historical landmarks, because Old Road has a number of historical landmarks, has any of them been painted, especially when it's coming around election time?
Not to my knowledge. This is the first time to my knowledge I am seeing in Old Road anything of this nature.
Now, what do you want to be done? Because obviously, looking at the bridge, the entire area of the bridge, at least from the side that faces the road, is painted in red. What do you hope to have achieved?
Well, I would like to see it be removed. And I am saying, if the minister who is representing us have any knowledge or any input, I think he should stand as a statesman and accept that he made an error and have it been removed. If he did not have any input, he should then stand, try to find out who did it, and ask the authorities to ask them to have it be removed immediately. It's very hurting.
What's the reaction of the residents here? Are you the only one that's making a fuss of it, or are other people upset about it?
Well, there are other people who are really upset about it, but the problem they are facing, that they are afraid to speak. Now, I am speaking because it bothers me. I have children who are going to school and would like to know exactly what was the purpose of that bridge, and I don't want my child to have the idea that it was a red bridge originally. It should have its origin color. Now,
tourists frequent this area quite a bit because the Caribbean Boutique is just up the road from where we're standing right now, just a few chains from the bridge. What has been the reaction? Has you noticed anything from the tourists noticing the bridge or noticing the color or anything of that sort?
Well, today was a day which we had a shipping mast here, and most of the guests who drive along with their driver would stop, look at it, and they would be asking questions. Now, even the proprietor, Mr. Maurice Widdowson, who operates Caribbean Boutique, he came down this morning, took photos, and he himself was very upset because Mr. Widdowson has done a lot of work here in Old Road trying to restore the historical sites them, and he's very much offended. I can say that because he did said it to me this morning.
Right. So you want the paint to be removed, you want the color to be removed, and the bridge to be restored to its original color?
To its original color. No white, no green, no red, no color, but its original color.
Mr. Austin Coker, a resident of Old Road, was talking about the bridge just a few chains down away from the entrance to Caribbean Boutique here in Old Road. Reporting from Old Road for the WINN FM News, I'm Andre Huey.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WINN FM.
WINN FM's mission is to contribute meaningfully to the information, awareness, and the development of our nation and the region through the building of educated and informed communities. WINN FM faces the issues squarely, without shying away from controversy, while striving continuously to provide balanced, responsible reporting.
Better music, better talk, better radio. 98.9 WINN FM.
Welcome back to the WINN Weekender. We're in Old Road. We're doing a story on the historic bridge in Old Road just across the road from us that was painted red. Some residents in the community are upset about it. When we first ran the story on November 29th on WINN FM, just across the road from the bridge, there is a stone structure, also historic, has historic significance to it, that was painted red shortly after our report. The resident, Mr. Austin Coker, who we spoke about in the first half of the program, is quite upset about it as well. And as you can see, the stone is right here. It's raining right now, it's wet, and it's painted red. We have not yet gotten a response from Glenn Phillip, the Member of Parliament for the area, who is with the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, the colour that is represented here. But we hope to hear from him sometime soon. So we'll continue our report on the bridge, historic bridge, and hear what the National Trust has to say on the issue.
The St. Christopher National Trust is preparing to document its concern over the defacing of the historic structure. Vice President of the Trust, Tapley Seaton, told WINN FM this past week that the organization is alarmed by the situation.
We've had representation to us by some of our members who are quite incensed at this. When the persons who were doing it were asked, they said, well, they were given a job. And we feel that the representative for the area and the government generally needs to be told that this is not the way to go, that this is actually destroying some of the historic aspects. I mean, we have politics that intervenes into everything, but you don't need to have the entire place. We've had it in the past where you had stone walls on outside of estate properties that were painted in certain colors, and it's something that I think that we need to resist and to protest in the loudest possible terms. And
this is not the first time that historic structures have been defaced to promote political parties. In the lead up to the 2010 elections, centuries-old walls were painted red or yellow as an apparent show of party support, something that the National Trust also decried then and referred to as a travesty.
We have been asked by our members to write to the entities that are involved in this and to indicate that, it is a matter that should be stopped and should cease immediately.
So you have, or you are going to?
We are going to. We have not yet. As a private sector entity, because we're still private sector, but we are non-governmental also. We have to advocate. I mean, that's part of our mantra. It's part of our mission. And so certainly one needs to undertake that and to make positions clear. Speaking
on WINN FM's Heritage Matters program, Mr. Seaton affirmed the National Trust's continued advocacy for the protection of the island's built heritage.
And so similarly, any action when people take, when they remove headstones, when they remove from the ruins, when they do all manner of things, when they take up the machinery that was earmarked for some further use at the sugar factory. I mean, all of those are things that only serve to devalue our heritage. And we've been speaking and trying to promote heritage tourism. And these things cannot go ahead. And so the leadership has to appreciate that this goes against the very message that they're putting out in terms of saying that we want heritage tourism. We can't have heritage tourism in its full form and full flower. One has these matters intervening.
People's Action Movement candidate for Constituency 4, Lindsay Grant, is outraged by the defacing of a historic bridge in his home village of Old Road.
I saw that painting of the Old Road Bridge a couple of days ago, and the thought that first came to mind was that this was indeed a travesty.
The bridge was painted red in the past couple of days, and reports reaching WINN FM Sunday indicate that some river pillars have also been painted red in an apparent show of support for the ruling Labour Party. Mr. Grant tells WINN FM that there's a bigger picture beyond the politics.
A travesty because Old Road has a place not only in the history of St. Kitts Nevis, but in the history of the Caribbean. We all know that it was the first landing of the English settlers. And I consider these types of buildings, the walls, whatever it is, as national treasures. And if we are speaking about sustainable tourism, that has to be taken into account. I mean, we have a World Heritage Site in Brimstone Hill. What if somebody paints Brimstone Hill red? I mean, I consider that a desecration of our national interest. And I believe it is incumbent on the powers that be to make a stern warning to persons who are doing this that this would not be tolerated.
Some area residents, historical conservationists, and the National Trust have all publicly expressed their outrage over the decision to paint historic structures. The Trust says it intends to put its concerns in writing to the government.
We have to be responsible citizens. And as persons speaking on a political platform and persons who are serious about the development of St. Kitts and Nevis, we have to tell citizens that certain places are absolutely out of bounds. And that wall in Old Road was absolutely out of bounds. There's a similar wall in front of my constituency in Old Road. We ensure that we don't do it. We ensure that we tell our supporters not to do it, because we understand that after tomorrow and after the politics, life in St. Kitts continues, and we have to preserve every little historical site and every little bit of history we have for future generations. And it is as simple as that.
WINN FM's attempt Sunday to contact for a comment the parliamentary representative for the area, Minister Glenn Phillip, and the Labour Party Chair, Minister Marcella Liebert, were unsuccessful.
The individuals, the whole community in Old Road is absolutely upset with this. And we are going now to the heightened political period. And so we do not want those buildings and walls, which are 100, 200, 300, 400 plus years, to be desecrated in this way. And, it's a travesty, and I put it squarely, because my information tells me I put it squarely at the feet of the Labour Party for doing this.
This has been the WINN Weekender. On behalf of the WINN TV news team, I'm Andre Huey, coming to you from the fishing village of Old Road.